Dude, I know it's like a weird generic title, like, how about airplane food? But this fucking weather's wigging me out, dude. I was in shorts 2 days ago. Today we got 3 inches of snow. Like, what the fuck's going on? School's canceled. Like, I don't know. It's just insane. I took my dad's van to get it all washed and cleaned up, and at the car wash, and the wind chill was so cold, like I would spray one side of the car and go around like to the other side of the van. By the time I got back, it was turning the water I just sprayed into ice. Insane. My favorite days, or I guess my favorite weather, is like when you sorta would like to have like a hoodie at night. You still be wearing shorts, but at night you may or may not need like a hoodie. And then during the day, shorts and t-shirt, 100%. Whatever temperature that is, year round, that's where I want to live. What you think about when you're born into a fire? Yeah, high of 33. The snow didn't melt at least, but most of it did. Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To blame. All right, let's go. There's Facebook started over here. Refresh, refresh. Pull this page over here. Hold on just a second. What's up, guys? How's the weather where you live? It fucking sucks right now here. It won't make up its fucking mind. I don't know what's going on. We got inches of snow today. It started out like rain mix, then went to ice, then was like inches of snow, which is insane because shorts and t-shirt 2 days ago. Yesterday was, kind of rainy and shitty. Today's a lot different. School let out early at noon. No school tomorrow. No remote learning. I don't know. Not a fan. The old timers all say that it's like dogwood winter, then blackwood winter, or blackberry winter, a bunch of those stupid things. But I just think, fuck this. Like, I don't enjoy the colds.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it.
Dogwood winter is in
There's
April.
A lot of weird things that go on.
Blackberry winter is in May.
It comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy
Blackberry
the show.
winter would be the last
Thanks
little cold
for
snap
watching.
you have.
Peace out.
But often they don't actually bring like snow, right? They're like cold snaps, hard freeze. They were invented or they're used for like planting more than anything. It's like an Appalachian thing, but it's like for planting because that's the last two couple cold snaps, and then you will have you'll be able to have your plants outside, or you won't have to protect them or cover them up in some way. Yeah, dogwood winter is dogwood trees are blooming, which their early bloomers are out now, but it's usually like mid to late April, and then blackberry winter is mid-May. It'll be when the blackberry bushes have their white blooms on. And farmers, I guess, used to wait till after that before they put out like actual, not seeds, but like actual plants that'll die in the frost. Also, there's this weird thing that I used to see and help with at a strawberry farm where if there's going to be like a late hard frost. Hold on just a second. There was a year where there was like this late hard frost, and they went out and covered the strawberry plants. Like they put sprinklers out. They put sprinklers out and froze a layer of ice over the strawberry. It was the weirdest thing to save the strawberry plants. And the water runs continuously until the weather is back above freezing. I don't know. I have no idea. But this place, they do tomatoes. They're a huge tomato supplier. They're called Scott's Farms, SCOTTS, Scott's Farms. And they had just gotten into strawberries maybe like 2 or 3 years. And my buddy is the son of the owner, right? And we were working at his farm one day, and we actually went to a basketball game that evening, and his dad come and asked us if we'd help him, that it was going to be a hard freeze that night, like a late hard freeze. So we went out and set up sprinklers. They had a bunch of guys there, and they let them run continuously to freeze water. And I guess where the plants are the way it was explained to me, where the plants are constantly trying to unthaw themselves, that it keeps the layer between the ice and the plant, a layer of water that's constantly at least 32 degrees. And you keep the water running until the air temperature is above 32 degrees. And they did this for it was like a day and a half. And then they let them go again, and it saved the plants. I don't know a lot about it, but there you go. Anyways, that was my experience. What's yours? I'm trying to see. It doesn't look like we have much snow left. Most of it melted off. I guess it's not like it got warmer. It actually got colder. When I woke up this morning, the fucking temperature is just falling off a cliff. It's been insane. But it looks like all the ground must have been too warm or something. It looks like all the snow in my parking lot and shit's gone. So now we know. I like to check on this this Twitter page every once in a while. This is the Christian Nightmares Twitter page. Help me get the word out. Here's a link to my new account. Okay. They do a lot of things with like, this is kind of weird. The church is doing this. Be equipped, be bold, be dangerous, but good. What is this? Rise to the call of faith, family, and freedom. Equip yourself to make a difference. Shop now. Christian nationalist combat gear for their imaginary wars, of course. My mother-in-law used to date a guy that had like a hard-on for like being some type of weird church shooting martyr or whatever. Like he was part of the security team and they had like earpieces. They did this training. He was always carrying at church. It was very weird. MAGA pastor Hank Kuhneman asked congregants to donate to a travel fund so he can charter private jets because I'm so dedicated to God's. Even Jesus concerned about going to certain ports and airports. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. Praise the Lord. Let me get some audio, damn it. I was checking something else.
States of America, and to fight for it, I said, I'm going to have Amy call. I'm going to charter a jet. Because I am so dedicated to God, and I am so dedicated to you, the people. And
I have a family member that used to want super early tomatoes, right? And the problem with super early tomatoes is in Tennessee, at least, you got to plant them early. So what he does is he takes a 5-gallon, he makes a mounds, okay? For each tomato plant has a mounds. He takes before the mound's there, he takes a 5-gallon bucket, plants his tomato seedlings like super early, right? The 5-gallon bucket has a hole cut out of the bottom of it, so it's really just a tube. He puts it down and like sends it in the dirt and then builds a mound of dirt up around it. If it's going to be freezing, he takes plywood and plastic sheets and puts a square of plywood on top of each bucket or plastic sheet on top and then plywood on top of that and then uncovers them. Whatever. He gets tomatoes like super fucking early. But it's a lot of work too to keep shit from freezing.
And I am dedicated to the United States of America and to fight for it. I said, Brenda, I feel like I'm supposed to be there at all costs. I know we're paying a lot of money here, but Brenda, I am pressed. It's like, where the Bible says Jesus was pressed to go to Jerusalem. I felt pressed that I have to do this. I don't need another thing to do. That's not why I do it. It's because I'm trying to be obedient alongside of you and with you.
It actually says a simple sniff test is the best way to choose a sweet, ripe, but not overripe, strawberry. A good fresh strawberry will have a strong, sweet fragrance or aroma. And it tells you, it says smell, when buying strawberries, smell the bottom of the package. If it doesn't smell like anything, they won't taste like anything. There you go.
If you know me, there's no quit in me. I haven't quit. I keep pressing. So I chartered a flight, but thank you.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. Charter the flight, and then the congregation will pay for it later.
It's very expensive. And yes, I loved it. I got there and I was able to do Thursday night and then Friday morning, then fly back. And I was very appreciative. Folks, we got to get a travel fund together. I went before God and I said, Lord, just give me a scripture so that I can share with the people something out of the Word that is true, that I can share with them, that sometimes a minister does have to have, watch this now, a travel plan and a travel vehicle that's dependable. The last few times I've tried to make trips, they haven't been dependable. And I almost could not get back here in time, or I get stuck, something gets delayed. How many know the story there? But I want to show you Mark chapter 3, verse 9 out of the NIV. Notice what Jesus instructed. Or no, it's NLT, excuse me.
Jesus instructed his disciples to have a boat ready so the crowd would not crush him.
Jesus instructed his disciples to what? Have a boat what? Ready. So the crowd would not crush him. So even Jesus was concerned about going to certain ports and airports and things. He had to have smarts because of where
Jesus was concerned about going to, I bet you wouldn't go to LaGuardia.
ministry was at.
While we're on the subject of plants, you guys know that oranges aren't naturally orange. That oranges in their natural environment will stay green on the outside. They'll be orange on the inside, obviously, but they'll stay green because of chlorophyll. They only become orange, that we all know and loved, when they're brought to cooler climates and they lose all their chlorophyll. So now, the oranges that they still produce in warmer climates are treated with ethylene gas to turn them orange so you'll buy them in the store. Is that not insane? They're treated with gas so you'll buy them in the store so they'll be up to your orange standard, what you expect them to look like. Fucking crazy. Tom Lamphere and Tim Clinton were among MAGA cultists who recently prayed over Trump. Lamphere said they assured Trump that the people of God stand behind him, what he's doing with Israel, the Iran war, and the moves that he has made on the immigration side of things.
A few words, but
I'm
last
glad.
week, real privilege, honor to go to the White House, spend some time with the president, faith leaders coming in the midst of everything that's going on. President seemed to be, I think...
Tell me he gives a fuck about this. This isn't just for show, for the press. I mean, if he gave a fuck about this, they wouldn't need cameras there.
Really encouraged by our time there. Just some reflections from you. You had a moment to speak and say a few words, but to the president, what'd you share on your heart, and what are your thoughts?
You know, Tim, God has given all of us as Christians the ministry of encouragement, and that's really what we want.
The ministry of encouragement.
In the Oval Office with
Hell, it didn't fucking help. What's her name? She still got cancer.
the president. Sure. Did we have a list
Susie
of
Wiles.
things we wanted to talk about? Absolutely. But what we really wanted to do more than
There's a guy in my town that is so fucking hateful, dude. Like, he was one, you guys remember I told you, like, they were going to bring this touristy, like, resort thing that would have brought jobs and money and people with money to our area. It was like a very high-end resort, and they found the website for it. They're going to put it in a place called Rocky Fork, which is, like, near a national park or whatever, a creek and shit. And they found the website for it, and because the website said it was an all-inclusive resort, meaning everything's included, right? They had chefs, they had, food, they had laundry services, everything, all-inclusive resort. They found the word all-inclusive on their website, all-inclusive resort, and they decided that meant that they wanted gay people there and trans people and non-Christians, like being an inclusive spot or an inclusive area or an inclusive business, as if they were advertising like, hey, we want all the LGBTQ. So they petitioned to shut this fucking place down. And they end up moving and went over to Wolf Laurel. But like that's this type of person. He's so fucking hateful. He said some horrible things about, I have a gay nephew, by the way, but he said some horrible things about my nephew, about other people, about people running for office, just the wildest shit. And he's like, this isn't me. I don't hate anybody. I'm just trying to do what the Bible teaches us. And this motherfucker, God hates him, dude. He's had like 4 fucking strokes. He can't walk. He just lost his home health care. He's blind in fucking both eyes, right? Like, God fucking hates him. And he's still like, the Bible tells me that I'm not supposed to like homosexuals. Like, keep praying, bro. What the fuck is it doing for you? Fucking Randy.
anything. Number one on the list was we wanted to make sure that he knew that we had his back, that we had his six, that the people of God stand behind him in what he's doing with Israel, the Iran war.
6, interesting enough, is when Trump thinks that a child is of enough age to be considered an adult, you know?
We just wanted to let him know that moves that he has made, even in the immigration side of things, is that, we're behind him.
Jesus would have been an ICE agent, I think. In modern America, Jesus would have been an ICE agent. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God, a big, weird publicity stunt. megachurch leading the Christian nationalist movement. Who is this? I don't know if this is a pay website or not, the New Yorker. Trump has, hollowed out the Johnson Amendment, which prohibited churches from endorsing candidates. Mercy culture in Fort Worth has sprung into action. On a Sunday morning in February, about 1,000 people filled the high-ceilinged sanctuary at, I don't like this font, at Mercy Culture, a non-denominational evangelical megachurch in Fort Worth, Texas. The senior lead pastor, Landon Scott, gave a sermon that was mostly about the virtues of generosity, although he occasionally veered into political territory. I do not believe with any part of me that the vaccine was the mark of the beast, but it sure was conditioning for it. Well, Trump supported that. He said at one point, then the worship band kicked in, and the young, diverse congregation lifted up their hands. A few hours later, the church hosted a more explicitly ideological gathering put on by For Liberty and Justice, the church's political arm. The organization was founded in 2021 to promote candidates who may not attend the church, but who are committed to a shared vision of religiously infused far-right politics. It has since helped usher more than 100 candidates into office. Nate Schatzlein, the founder of For Liberty and Justice, is a living embodiment of the nonprofit's goal of Christianizing government. He has served both as pastor at Mercy Culture and as one of the most conservative members of the Texas legislature. That evening, a crowd have gathered to hear from a handful of people running for office, including Ken Paxton, a U.S. Senate hopeful, and the current Texas Attorney General. Volunteers served coffee and soft supermarket cookies, while a man running for Agriculture Commissioner handed out packets of wildflower seeds and flyers promising to combat Chinese agro-terrorism. A bald man who hoped to win a seat in the state legislature pitched me in quick succession on his hemp business, his cryptocurrency, and his ministry. Schatzlein, a stubbled, sleepy-eyed man in his early 30s, gave an opening prayer. God, tonight is not just about taking ground in government. Tonight is about taking ground for your kingdom. He said to a room of bowed heads, God, I pray right now that you are sending a wave of your spirit throughout our country, and that, God, it doesn't matter how bad polls look. Father, you are going to bring awakening and spiritual revival to America this year. I wish something would happen so obviously that there's no way that fucking God's on our side. People not attuned to evangelical world may have missed the growing prominence of hyper-politicized churches such as Mercy Culture, which have become a key wing of MAGA coalition. Compared with the religious right of previous generations, this cohort of pastors, influencers, and self-described prophets offer up a version of worship that's at once more mystical, with an emphasis on supernatural powers, and more militaristic, with heightened political rhetoric. Many adopt a Christian nationalist framework, arguing that the United States was founded as a Christian nation and should be governed as such. The Johnson Amendment, a longstanding provision in the U.S. tax code, prohibits nonprofits, including churches, from endorsing or opposing political candidates. Houses of worship aligned with both political parties have long flirted with defying the rule, but after Trump was first elected, that defiance became more overt. Mercy Culture's pastors hung a candidate's banner behind the pulpit, endorsed politicians during Sunday services, said that people who vote Democrats weren't truly Christian, and described Kamala Harris as a demonic Jezebel for taking the form of a snake encircling the White House. Big whoop, Schott said, responding to an investigation by ProPublica and the Texas Tribune that questioned whether the statements from the pulpit might undermine the church's tax-exempt status. After the 2016 election, Trump told leaders of the National Prayer Breakfast that he would totally destroy the Johnson Amendment. Last July, the IRS announced that it was weakening the enforcement criteria. Joshua Moore, the chapter coordinator for Liberty and Justice, told me that though the organization has, to his knowledge, only ever supported Republicans, it is nonpartisan. That's how nonpartisan works, right? If you find me a Democrat that shares our values, we'll happily put them on our list. The move was interpreted by many, including Schatzlein, lean. I'm going to have trouble with that. As permission for churches to endorse candidates to the congregation. What's your excuse now, he said on his podcast. Why will you not get loud? The undermining of the Johnson Amendment was a boon for mercy culture. For Liberty and Justice announced plans to expand to a dozen states, partnering with like-minded churches, but the mood at the event that February evening was notably somber. The previous day, North Texas had been rocked by an upset in a special election for state Senate seat. In a solidly red district, an underfunded Democrat defeated the Republican candidate, a mercy culture ally, by nearly 15 points. That marked more than a 30-point swing from 2024, when Trump won the district handily. Although the election was largely symbolic, the Texas legislature is currently not in session, and the candidates will run again in November. It was widely seen as evidence that voters were repudiating the current Republican agenda. Last week, James Talarico, a state legislator who rose to prominence with his public criticism of Texas Christian nationalist faction, won the Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate. Paxton did worse than expected and will face a runoff election against Senator John Cornyn in May. Even before the primary elections, the alarm was palpable. And North Texas, arguably the heart of the state's Christian nationalist movement. Last night, we got our butts kicked. Tim O'Hare, a judge in Tarrant County, told the room at Mercy Culture, speaking about the February special election. We got whipped. If Tarrant County falls into Democrat hands in November, he went on, what do you think will happen to all of North Texas 5 years before the whole thing is blue? And if North Texas in 10 years is bright blue, how does Texas stay red? Jesus. Don't do anything but pray. If you really believed in God, the only steps you would take to win for your election would be to pray. You wouldn't campaign. You wouldn't advertise. You wouldn't do these speaking engagements. You wouldn't do these events. You wouldn't shake hands. You wouldn't pass out flyers. You wouldn't do anything but pray. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. By faith and not through works. As Schott relates to the story, God told him that before he opened his own church, he needed to consult with Dallas megachurch pastor named Robert Morris. That consultation turned into a year-long internship at Morris's Gateway Church, which is one of the largest congregations in the country. Schott came to think of himself as Morris's spiritual son. In 2019, he founded Mercy Culture with his wife, Heather, following in the footsteps of his social media savvy churches such as Hillsong in Los Angeles. Mercy Culture had a worship band that played earnest anthemic rock, and its pastors wore skinny jeans. The church's minimalist bumper stickers read, "A cross equals mercy," became so ubiquitous around the Dallas-Fort Worth area that parody stickers began to circulate. No mercy. Mercy equals cults. Last year, Morris pleaded guilty to 5 counts of lewd and indecent acts with a... That's a surprise. Anybody pin the Christians or into kids? Last year, Morris pleaded guilty to 5 counts of lewd and indecent acts with a child, and Schott's pastoral lineage became something of a liability. But Schott, who visited Morris in prison in February and said that God has forgiven him, tends to lean into controversy. Last year, he posted a video of himself at a school board meeting for MC Prep, a private school affiliated with the church, beaming at the camera as balloons bob behind him. "I just found out we're #1 school in Texas for the least vaccinations," he enthused, holding up a custom-made T-shirt proclaiming the dubious honor. The school reportedly has 14% vaccination rate. In January 2025, Schott led a worship service at the Texas State Capitol, and he arrived sporting a look that would not be out of place at South by Southwest, flat-brimmed fedora, long silver chain. In a meeting room, he paced the stage, spitting out incantations meant to protect lawmakers from malignant spiritual forces. Men in suits placed their hands on walls to bless the building. The scene alarmed Matthew D. Taylor, a religious studies scholar and the author of The Violent Take It by Force, the Christian movement that is threatening our democracy. Taylor grew up evangelical and got a master's from Fuller Theological Seminary, at the time, one of the country's most prominent evangelical seminaries. Since Trump's rise, Taylor has been tracking what he called a tectonic shift in the culture of American evangelicalism, a move towards more militant, authoritarian, and politicized expressions of faith. Schott's ceremony struck him as an escalation, not so much for what he said. The language of spiritual warfare, though perhaps startling to outsiders, was nothing new, but rather from the position from which it was said. The self-identified spiritual warriors were no longer relegated to the fringe, but invited to the inner sanctums of government. So that we've always had people kind of claiming this wild shit, but now they're being brought in and patted on the back by our actual lawmakers, right? At the center of shit. When Trump first announced his presidential run, evangelical elites, like other institutionalists, were slow to embrace the crude, multiply divorced New Yorker who struggled to name his favorite Bible verse. Much of Trump's initial support came from the non-denominational charismatic world. Charismatic Christianity is centered on the worshiper's direct personal encounters with the Holy Spirit and maintains that the prophetic revelations and the demonic attacks of the church's early era are still active forces today. These churches, which largely existed outside established hierarchies, were quick to tap into the congregants' interest in Trump. Many key figures were associated with a movement known as the New Apostolic Reformation, which aims to establish Christian dominion over American society and government. In the decade since Trump's early admirers have been elevated alongside him and right-wing politics have acquired a charismatic flavor, Trump rallies and worship services increasingly resemble each other, with shared aesthetics, language, issues, and celebrities. The influence is apparent even among non-evangelicals. Tucker Carlson, who is Episcopalian, traditionally among the most buttoned up of Protestant sects, claimed in 2024 that he was physically mauled by a demon while asleep in bed next to his wife and 4 dogs. Trump used to treat his charismatic acolytes with a kind of affectionate bemusement. Since the failed assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, he has increasingly adopted their prophetic framing, claiming that he was saved by God to make America great again. According to one study, 40% of evangelical Christians who did not believe in prophecies thought that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. Among prophecy-believing evangelicals, the figure was more than 80%. We've got a problem, America. Mercy Culture's pastors have come to play an increasingly prominent role in the MAGA universe. I don't think anybody's star has risen higher in the last few years than Landon and Heather Schott, Taylor said. Last year, Schatzline decided not to run for re-election, instead taking a leadership role on the National Faith Advisory Board, Trump's de facto religious cabinet. Landon Schott also serves in the NFAB's leadership. Mercy Culture recently purchased a building in Washington, D.C. across from the Supreme Court where it hosts Bible study groups made up of congressional staffers. Kingdom leaders are using that house on kingdom business, Schott said in his sermon in February. Massive, massive movements are happening because we are hosting the presence of God and hosting leaders in that house. Taylor believes that the spread of what he calls MAGA Christianity is serving as cover for for the authoritarian turn in right-wing politics. If your enemies are controlled by demonic forces, why would you respect how they voted? We've heard this before, right? You can't talk to them. You can't negotiate with them. You can't be reasonable with them. They're all demons. We've also heard that in court cases before they kill their children or loved ones or neighbors, whatever. When you think back to the 1980s and the rise of religious right, the James Dobson, Ralph Reed, Jerry Falwell moment, they were naming their organizations things like Moral Majority and the Christian Coalition. I'm not a fan of those guys. I think many of them were scoundrels, but they were still assuming the rules of liberal democracy as a frame. He said, much like the earlier religious right, for liberty and justice hopes to invade and reform the Republican Party. Schatzline has said, but rather than claiming a popular mandate, its authority comes from prophetic revelation. God told him to do this. Carlos Tercios, the Tarrant County Director for Liberty and Justice, was born in 2001 and grew up in Fort Worth in a politically divided household. In high school, he was entranced by Bernie Sanders, though he soon switched his allegiance to Trump, whom he saw as the most authentically anti-establishment candidate. Along the way, he came to believe that the Christian values should be more thoroughly reflected in the country's laws. These days, Tercio's politics encompass economic populism, America First nationalism, and religious authoritarianism. This constellation of beliefs can sometimes put Tercios at odds with older conservatives. 40, 50 years ago, we probably would have been called liberal for supporting big government, he told me. Yeah, because that's not a Republican thing. But it's a different time. On the phone, Tercios and I had a pleasant and wide-ranging conversation about housing affordability, war, and the perils of smartphone distraction. At For Liberty and Justice event, I was startled, but probably should not have been, when he gave an apocalyptic speech invoking blood, enemies, evil, Satan, and urged spiritual warfare to take place. Christian nationalism is arguably the dominant political force in Texas today, thanks in part to multi-million-dollar donations from two West Texas billionaires, Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilks. It has become routine to hear Republican leaders proclaim that the principle of separation of church and state is not aligned with the Founding Fathers' true wishes. In the past few years, Texas has mandated posting 10 Commandments in public school classrooms, approved an optional Bible-infused curriculum for public elementary schools, and focused school boards to vote on instituting a daily prayer program. The Christian nationalist wing of the state's Republican Party has pushed the legislature's recent crackdown on LGBTQ rights and its passage of a multi-billion-dollar school voucher program, the largest of its kind. The voucher program was widely considered a boon to Christian schools. So far, no Islamic schools have been approved for any funding. Of course not. For Liberty and Justice's chapter coordinator, Joshua Moore, told me that though some people consider Christian nationalist to be a derogatory term, it's an accurate descriptor of the organization's philosophy. I asked him whether non-Christians could hold positions of power in the U.S. As a general rule, I would say no. Non-Christians should not hold power in any political power in the U.S. The Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs, Mercy Culture's backyard, have been key incubator for this combative version of Christianity. It is where the school board wars of and all of these sick, stupid motherfuckers get off to this shit, right? Again, we talking about modern day crusaders and Pete Hegseth and his religion and his pastor and the tattoos he fucking has. It is where the school board wars of the early 2020s kicked off and where an architect of the state's abortion ban was primaried for not being conservative enough. But it's possible to discern signs of a backlash. In 2022, school board candidates supported by far-right Christian PAC won every race they entered. Last year, the conservative school boards in Tarrant County and elsewhere suffered significant losses. I just never dreamed that every single one of those school board incumbents would not be reelected, a former school board member told the Fort Worth Report. It's the first time I can remember that happening. The February special election results were a further blow. Lee Wamsgans, I don't know, fuck. The Republican candidate and a Mercy Culture ally had become a minor MAGA celebrity, owing her role in facilitating far-right takeover of the area's school boards. At a Turning Point USA Women's Conference in 2022, she strode on stage wearing a pink sheath dress. My name is Lee. I'm not even going to try to say her last name. She said, and my pronouns are Bible believer, Jesus lover, gun carrier, and mama bear. I hope she goes to hell. I don't even believe heaven and hell are real, and I hope hell's real just so she goes to hell. But the aggressive mode of politics practiced by Lee and her cohort eventually alienated many of her fellow conservatives. A former office holder and conservative Republican told me, sighing, that the MAGA Christians were fiscal dummies. It's also likely that local issues played a role. Lee was a proponent of a controversial move to divide a school district. According to the Republican pollsters and strategists, Ross Hunt, Lee's loss, which was a blowout, was due less to mobilized Democrats than to independent and Republican voters turning against her. In his analysis, between a quarter and a third Republicans voted for the Democratic candidate, Taylor Remetz. When I asked the young men for Liberty and Justice whether the results implied that voters were growing tired of their brand of politics, they said no. Conservative candidates simply need to run on a Christian conservative populist message. Tercios told me. Moore rejected the idea of moderation, even if it meant losing elections. We're not compromising our principles. We're not compromising our values. We're certainly not going to compromise the word of God, he said. Scripture tells us that the blessings rain down on the just and the unjust. And I say that to say, when Christians lead, when Christians are involved in leadership positions, especially in politics, everybody benefits. Is that true, though? I do not believe in a heaven or hell, and I hope she goes to hell, straight to hell. I hope it's real just for her. If no other explanations for the Iran war seem satisfying, have you considered that the point is to bring about the end of the world and the return of Jesus Christ? Well, there's something. What we got here?
Be a Christian. You can't look with lust in your heart and be a. You can't drink your beer and be a Christian. You can't look with lust in your heart and be a Christian. Oh, for the Bible says, "Let every man that nameth the name of Christ, let him depart from iniquity." My friend Jesus said that if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Bible says in 1 John that whosoever committeth sin, he is of the devil. You can't drink your beer and be a Christian.
Now we know. What would you name this team? We're building a team, lots of unity, slightly different approaches, all committed to difficult but truthful discussions regarding Christianity, politics, and the church. Saturday in America. This is what I was getting to. I think this is it.
And you actually spoke with Jesus. You know, we speak with him on earth through prayer, but you saw him face.
Gabe Perot in a coma for 18 days says, I met Jesus.
And you actually spoke with Jesus. You know, we speak with him on earth through prayer, but you saw him face to face. You had a conversation. What did he say?
Well, I didn't originally see him face to face because my face was down because I was so concerned that the list of my mistakes was going to be pulled up and I was done for. It was like black and white, like I have no hope, right? But he picks up my face, he looks me in the eyes and he says, Gabriel, why are you concerned about that which is paid for? And he showed me the wounds in his hands. Not his hands, this was like his wrists. They carried the depth of eternity and his wounds had a name, Gabriel. He did it just for me.
National news, by the way.
I'll forever be his
national news.
His entire life just for me.
That is the message of Christianity, and it makes me tear up to hear that, because that's what Christ is all about. That's what Christianity is all about. And you actually spoke with Jesus. You know, we speak with him on earth through prayer, but you saw him face to face. You had a conversation.
Never happened.
What did he say?
Well, I didn't originally see him face to face because my face was down because I was so concerned that the list of my mistakes was going to be pulled up and I was done for. It was like black and white, like I have no.
He showed me the wounds on his hand. Did he? Easter's in 21 days away. Oh, this is their new fight back against Easter because it's a pagan holiday, and you should only celebrate Jesus. No candy, no ducks, no bunnies, no eggs, no nothing. We're not doing your pagan fertility ritual. We're going to body slam the Easter bunny. Praise the Lord, dude. Praise the Lord. Somebody had to... That bunny's been getting kind of uppity, right? I've been seeing him do commercials for Cadbury. What, has he got a brand deal? I'm glad somebody finally did it. Evolution is just a fairy tales for atheists. Genesis says God created everything in 6 days. Deal with it. I will deal with it. What is this a Christian thirst trap? Watch conservative Christian political candidate releases deeply offensive oh, of course they did. They're paid posts. That sucks. Email me a link. I don't know. This sucks. Behind a fucking paywall, dude. I'm trying to see if I can get it. Now it wants me to download an app. I'm not doing all that. Fuck that. Unsubscribe. I'm done. I'm out. During a rally yesterday to announce a partnership between the state of Arkansas and TPUSA to bring TPUSA Club America chapters to Arkansas high schools, Erica Kirk said, "Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man." Mailman? Is this about mail delivery people?
Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down.
A young white male man?
Especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need.
Are we going after the Postal Service or supporting the Postal Service? White men deliver mail.
especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need strong men out there, strong men who are convicted. Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man. Don't ever let
A young white male man. That was weird. There they are again. Christian nationalist combat gear for imaginary wars. Using bigotry to hide authoritarian Christian nationalist agenda. Want to see if that. You drew first blood, but I'll be back. Oh my God, is he the Terminator? I'm angry about all of the fear, doubt, and insecurity that develops as a result of what I was taught by evangelical Christianity as a kid. I'm angry that I've had to spend so many years unlearning it. It does fuck with your head when you're a kid, and they get you to be saved. Hell, who wants to go and die and go to hell? You know what I mean? They make up this hell. Who wants any of that, right? You're going to be tortured for all of eternity if you don't play their little game. Jake Paul's a loser just like fucking Trump now. Doug Wilson says that his preferred Christian nation, anything that Protestants consider to be public displays of idolatry, would be banned, including Catholic parades.
Okay. Let me give you a couple of very practical examples. Okay. Could Muslims be here? Yes, they could be. Could they hold political office? No. Could Muslims gather together with their Muslim family and friends to pray to Allah? Yes. Right? Could you have a mosque? Yes. Could they have a minaret, a prayer tower that issues a public call to prayer? No, because the public spaces belong to Christ. Right? We're a Christian nation. So church bells are okay. Church bells are okay, but a Muslim call to prayer in the public space would not be okay.
By the way, the people that are bitching about a Muslim call to prayers or the sound of it or whatever and people praying, you'll never hear them bitch about a church bell, ever.
A prayer tower that issues a public call to prayer? No, because the public spaces belong to Christ. Right? We're a Christian nation. So church bells are okay. Church bells are okay, but a Muslim call to prayer in the public space would not be okay. Catholic church bells would be okay. Right? Catholic church bells would be okay, but a parade in honor of the Virgin Mary, carrying an image of the Virgin Mary down Main Street, no. Right? So
what about the Eucharist? What about the Eucharist? What about a Eucharistic procession?
That's a new one. I would say probably not. It would depend on what was being done around it, how it was being conducted. But basically, public displays of idolatry, what the Protestant foundation of the law would consider to be idolatry, would not be allowed. So you wouldn't have a Hindu procession with a Hindu god. You wouldn't have a procession of the Virgin Mary.
Blessed Sacrament. Oh, here he is with Trump.
You got it. This guy has guts. Jake, you got to come up. Come here. You got it. This guy has guts.
The only reason Trump has anything to do with Jake Paul is because Barron, right? Barron got him with Aiden Ross. Barron got him with Jake Paul. Barron got him with this. And they're popular. Obviously, he's using that to his advantage.
And he walked out with a broken jaw. This was not the greatest fight. But you know what it showed? Lots of courage. Come here, Jake. Say a few words.
Courage to get his ass beat and make millions of dollars. That's not courage. I would have let that guy beat the fuck out of me. Break my jaw, fucking my face, my leg, my arm for, $40, $50 million too.
These are your people.
God damn. God damn. Why is he sweating so much?
Yeah, what Mr. Trump has taught me is courage. We never back down from a fight, even if they're much bigger than you, much
That's all. That's not a shadow. That's all sweat. Both arms. I know one arm's behind chat.
bigger than you. And I feel all the local Kentuckians feel the same way. You guys have that fight. You guys have that swag. There's a lot of young kids in here that feel the same way. You guys have that fight. You guys have that swag. There's a lot.
Look at that. Holy fuck, dude. He's a white male man.
A lot of young kids in here. The future of America. I grew up just a few hours away from here. My dad taught me to fight. And all of our voices matter in America. And I'm never afraid to speak the truth. And I know you guys aren't.
Throw the jacket away at that point.
We're here.
I'm up in a sleeveless shirt, something.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. We need more factories like this thriving all over the country, and I know he's going to be the one to bring that here to us.
Trump has fucked up factory jobs. In fact, all the quarters of job recession have been under Trump, but whatever.
With us, I know he wants us on the right side of history, and everyone here has to do their part, and God's got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
God's got us and Trump's got us, boys. God's got us and Trump's got us. God's got us. Mike Johnson rails against Sharia law while pushing the same idea, government enforcing religious doctrine. He just wants his religious rules instead, always.
Continue to Olivia.
He does have a beautiful fucking girlfriend, fiance, whatever. She's an Olympian. She is pretty.
Look, I've spoken to those.
I'm hoping she's just with Jake for clout and money because he's a fucking retard.
And all members, as I always do, about our tone and our message and what we say. There's a lot of energy in the country and a lot.
The same people that bitch about Sharia law are the exact same people that want their religion taught in schools. They want Christianity. They want to elect people that pray to get their answers and shit instead of representing their people. Like they just want their Sharia law.
A popular sentiment that the demand to impose Sharia law in America is a serious problem. That's what animates this, and that's the language that people use. It's a different language than I would use, but I think that that's a serious issue. Sharia law and the imposition of Sharia law is contrary to the U.S. Constitution. Our Constitution is the greatest in the world. It's the longest surviving Constitution on the planet, and we're 250 years into this grand experiment in self-governance. And one of the principles that we believe in, stated first in the nation's birth certificate, is that all of us are created equal by God. It means every single person has inestimable dignity and value, and that we respect everyone's beliefs and their right to live out their beliefs and to speak.
It's literally just a moral law, the same way they want to do Christian moral laws. God doesn't want you killing babies, got to ban abortion.
Freely about their beliefs and have that conviction. But when you seek to come to a country and not assimilate, but to impose Sharia law is in conflict with the U.S. Constitution. That is the conflict that people are talking about. It is not about people as Muslims. It's about those.
I don't even think saying Sharia law is probably, you would just say Sharia, right? Because it already implies the law. It's the moral law. It literally translated, it means something like the path to water or the path to redemption or the path to survival or whatever. But it's like basically these are the laws you have to keep to be, a good Muslim, right? You have to keep these archaic laws, right?
And that we respect everyone's beliefs and their right to live out their beliefs and to speak freely about their beliefs and have that conviction. But when you seek to come to a country and not assimilate, but to impose Sharia law is in conflict with the U.S. Constitution. That is the conflict that people are talking about. It is not about people as Muslims. It's about those who seek to impose a different belief system that is in direct conflict with the Constitution. That's where I think that comes from. Back row.
I hope they do an Easter fight where they have Conor McGregor playing Jesus and he beats up like the devil who's like a crippled, handicapped orphan child. That's what I hope. Government officials quoting Bible verses about war from the Pentagon podium should alarm anyone who cares about the Constitution.
So I'll close with scripture, drawing strength from Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield, in whom I take refuge.
I think Trump's so dumb, they've actually convinced him that God saved him and that God is the one who put him in this position and that because he's supposed to do this and it's been ordained by God Almighty.
May the Lord grant unyielding strength and refuge to our warriors, unbreakable protection to them in our homeland, and total victory over those who seek to harm them. And amen. God bless our troops and this mission. So I'll close.
Imagine if we didn't lean on a religion, right? And some sky daddy making up weird fucking rules about wearing two different types of fucking cloth in your clothing, and instead just taught people not to be pieces of shit. Like literally just treat people the way you would want to be treated if you were on the other end of the situation. Would you want somebody to rob you or kill you or murder you or no? Would you want to be a fucking dick, to the person if you had to work at McDonald's? That kind of thing, Nope. Christian Nationalist Secretary of War Pete Hegseth ends Iran with briefing prayer for the troops, Bible verse. God, he's a piece of shit.
Jerusalem, the capital of Israel.
From October 2025, Senator Lindsey Graham to Republican Jewish Coalition. I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs.
He recognized Jerusalem as capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. He's the guy that did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II. He recognized Jerusalem
as a biblical responsibility to Israel. Of course we do.
Listen, the United States and Israel are ironclad partners. We need them in the Middle East. We need them to be strong. We have a biblical responsibility to them as well as an allied responsibility.
We have a biblical responsibility to Israel.
We need them in the Middle East. We need them to be strong. We have a biblical responsibility to them as well as an allied responsibility to Israel. We should never sever that relationship, particularly to the benefit of killers like Iran.
Is that your office? Is that the flag right there?
I went to a church one time that a pastor had a goddamn meltdown. I wish I'd have had a phone as a kid that like record high quality. This pastor had a meltdown because he came into the parking lot and someone had gotten a tag on their car. You guys remember those tags that says Jesus is my co-pilot? Jesus is my co-pilot, basically is what the tag said, saying, oh, Jesus rides with me and we do this together in life and in driving and in everything else. He had a fucking meltdown. He's like, if Jesus is the co-pilot, that means you guys are equal. You're fighting over the steering wheel. You're fighting over the decisions. You're going back and forth, and he's trying to do something. You're trying to do something. Jesus should be the only pilot. You should be a flight attendant or something in the back of the plane. Like, had a fucking meltdown to where a family got up and left in their minivan that had the tag.
Is that the flag right there?
This guy says we have a biblical responsibility to Israel. And here he is, a U.S. senator, with an Israeli flag outside his office. So,
Kevin Cramer.
Senator Kevin Cramer, what the F? Are you?
Did you see Trump revealed sensitive medical information about a legislator?
Representing the interests of the U.S., where the vast majority of the American public don't want to war with Iran, or you're representing Israel because we have a biblical obligation? That's insane.
I'm in the cargo holds.
This is a religious war. Who wins it at the end of the day? Do the radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill all the Jews because God told them to? Who want to kill me because I'm an infidel? Who want to purify Islam, to reject moderation and make everybody a jihadist? This is a big deal. I'll deal with Section 230.
So we already watched that one. They say you cannot mix faith and Disney, but here we are worshiping God on Disney's Castaway Cay.
Facing right now is a moment of decision.
I hate people, dude. Look at those goddamn moo-moos. What the fuck? Was this like a weight gain cruise? It wasn't a weight loss cruise, I can tell you that much. Hold on. And you can tell even Mike Johnson's like, that's not public info.
Wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I won't mention his name. We had one man who was very ill. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I won't mention his name. Should I? Do other people know his name? Do you want to mention it? He'll be proud. Go ahead. Tell him the story.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. President.
Trump doesn't want to mention it, but he tells Mike Johnson to do it.
Had some real health challenges, and it was very serious. And
proud. Go ahead. Tell him the story.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida.
Even Mike Johnson is uncomfortable here. Watch his face. He's like, well, I don't think that was public.
And it was very serious and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think.
What's crazy is like there's nothing that Susie Wiles needs to be in that office to fucking do. If they really wanted to show their support for her, they would go out of their way to set it, and she still wanted to work. That was her choice. She still wanted to work and be part of the team. They would go out of her way to set up a goddamn digital command center at her fucking house and say, look, you need to relax. You need to take days off. You need to be, close, blah, 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 get in-home treatment. But if you want to work, if for some reason you want to, if that's what you desire to do, then you can just sit right here and you're in the room with us. We'll have live cameras. We'll have you a microphone. We'll have a crew here at your beck and call to do everything. You know what I mean? But to praise her for I don't even know that it's her choice. Trump might cut her loose if she has to take sick time.
I think it was a terminal diagnosis. It was very serious and had a pretty grim diagnosis.
So all they're saying right now is this guy had, a very grim diagnosis. And, most people would retire, but he decided, we need these Republican votes. So I'm going to come in and vote Republican every day, right? And they're like, he's so brave for doing that. You know, most people would say, fuck you, I'm doing my own thing, I'm dying. And Trump's like, yeah, but what was the diagnosis? And he's like, very grim. But then Trump can't leave it at that. He has to say it out loud. It's tearing him up inside. So listen.
Had a pretty grim diagnosis, and I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work, and if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's...
He would be dead by June. Like June bugs in September, gone away. Okay, that wasn't public, but
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think.
And you can tell, even Trump knows he's not supposed to say this. He doesn't want to say it. He's trying to make Mike Johnson say it. He said, well, not a lot of people know his name. It's not public, right? And he's like, God, I don't know. I don't think so. And he's like, go ahead, tell it. You tell the story. Tell the story. He'll be proud if you tell it. You tell the story. So he tells the story. Not enough details. So he's like, what was the diagnosis? Terminal. Well, yeah, but he's trying to lead Mike Johnson into saying this shit.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. That's it was grim.
We had one man who.
So they got basically what they're saying is, a big push for universal health care. They got Trump's doctors on him and got his heart fixed, whatever the fuck it was, and now he's not going to be dead by June.
Weekend Sunday. We check in now with the Great One. I call him the Great One. He's the host of Life, Liberty, Levin. Weeknights, weekend Sunday at 9 p.m. Top show on the network. The Great One, Mark Levin. Mark, I'll just hand it to you. I know you got a lot to say.
President Trump is 76 years old. If the Department of Justice gets his way, he will die in federal prison.
God, why couldn't we have gotten our way? Just this time, Lord. That's a prayer I'm sending up to him, I think. You guys hate it here too, or is it just me?
The United States woke up to news that the country was at war with Iran.
We wouldn't happen to be invading Iran today, would we? You got me.
Only Congress has the constitutional power to declare.
Oh, have you guys heard the new Iran theme song? It's pretty good. Like, I don't want to get your hopes up, but get them motherfuckers up. Okay? Get your goddamn hopes up. This is pretty good for a country song.
Trump.
Listen to these headlines in order, okay? I'm going to read them in order. U.S. gas prices surged to their highest since October 2023, 16 hours ago. 7 hours ago. Oil prices slide 3% down as some ships transit the Strait of Hormuz. 2 hours ago. Oil jumps over 2% as doubts linger over U.S.-backed plan to protect the Strait of Hormuz. 1 hour ago. Oil prices jump up again as worries grow over Hormuz. 42 minutes ago. Oil prices up another 2% amid escalating war in West Asia and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. One step forward and 19 steps back. What do the comments say? And here I was thinking, I don't like country music. Just curious, what do you actually think of Trump? At first, I thought TikTok sent me to the wrong side of the tracks. Grammy for Song of the Year. Told you so. Damn, you so talented. This is Grammy worthy. When you spew bullshit all day long, your mouth starts to look like an asshole. I like how the words came out so smooth. I'm going to need those lyrics spelled out, please, but I think you got all the important words in there. Thank you. Protest music is my favorite and best genre ever. God damn it, I'll never get this song out of my head. Fuck ICE, fuck Trump, fuck MAGA. Now that is talent. Where can I buy that song? Wow, you're incredibly talented. I appreciate your style. The worst part of being a Trump supporter is being too stupid to realize you've been outsmarted by an idiot.
Bob.
bombed Iran, man. Trump just bombed Iran, man. America first was a scam, man. From a con man with a spray tan. Killing, but he just don't care, man. Trump just bombed Iran. Cause he's a cocksucker, motherfucker, asshole, shit sucker, dick wad, fuck wad, shit dick, ass prick, blowjob, cock throt, bitch ass, nut job, pen dick, big prick, suck dick, ass shit, ass bag, fag, hag, cum, lick, dirt bag, dog, fuck, knob, cross thing, puss job. Trump just bombed Iran, man. Trump just bombed Iran, man. America first was a scam, man. From a con man with a spray tan. Killing, but he just don't care, man. Trump just bombed Iran.
There will likely be more. That's the way it is.
Ass wife, ass clown, bumblefuck, shit clown, chicken just like a fuck, cum, bubble cum, fuck, dick face, dipshit, douchebag, fuck with ass rag, dick smack, cock breath, clit, heck, with your mama pecker head, fuck, dark dick head, punk ass, jack shit, butt, wrench your dick lick. Trump just bombed Iran, man. Trump just bombed Iran, man. America first was a scam, man. From a con man with a spray tan. Killing, but he just don't care, man. Trump just bombed Iran.
There will likely be more. That's the way it is.
Ass blast, ass spanner, ass breath, ass white, beef flick, butt munch, candy ass, butt white, chick, cock, closer, cunt, sucker, dick brain, dick wad, dick head, dick munch, dick paint, dumb fuck, fart, knuckle, fuck a bitch, fuck head, fuck face, fudge, backer, jizz, papa.
Taiwan's escalated slightly, but it's been surrounded. They've been flying in the gray zone and pushing out militia. So there's like an area, coastal waters, where they're not supposed to put their military ships. But what they do is they disguise Chinese soldiers as fishing vessels, and they call it the fishing militia. They have upped the pressure a little bit, but like 2 weeks ago they did the same thing. I don't know if they're just seeing how people react or what's going on. The last I heard about the actual invasion was that they had probably pushed it back some, and the reason being is they just took out a bunch of their leadership. They just prosecuted a bunch of like fucking general of the army high leadership in their Navy and I think their Air Force for corruption and insubordination and shit. It seemed like they had pushed the invasion off maybe a couple years, but we'll see. Trump, if there's a way he can fuck it up, he will. So.
Trump just bombed Iran, man. Trump just bombed Iran, man. America first was a scam, man. From a con man with a spray tan. Killing, buddy.
Trigger finger's a special move I use on the ladies. I did not know that was also an injury.
Don't care, man. Trump just bombed Iran.
There will likely be more. That's the way it is.
Cause he's a cocksucker, motherfucker, asshole, shit sucker, dick wad, fuck wad, shit dick, ass break, blowjob, cock throt, bitch ass, nut jump, pen dick, big prick, suck dick, ass shit, ass back, head, cum, lick, dirt bag, dog, fuck, knob, crotch, thing, puss job. Trump just bombed Iran, man. Trump just bombed Iran, man. America first was a scam, man. From a con man with a spray tan. Killing, but he just don't care, man. Trump just bombed Iran.
There will likely be more. That's the way it is.
Oh, Trump just bombed Iran. Trump just bombed Iran.
I can't go 3 times. It was good twice, maybe. It was good twice. Yeah. Let's see if Iran stopped firing missiles yet. Wonder.
So Iranian drone and missile launches are down from the start of the war, but they're still happening every single day, and a fair number of them are getting through. In fact, just yesterday, Iran called their shot. Like, they announced to the world, we're going to hit this.
This is a big deal. The U.S. does this sometimes. Other countries do this sometimes. Iran doesn't seem like a country that would be that capable of doing this. They basically said, hey, we're going to blow this place up. Civilians evacuate. We believe the U.S. is using this area. We're going to blow it up. And they did. So even air defense, interceptors and shit, had time to plan and knew where to look, and they still hit them.
This location, evacuate civilians, and then they targeted with a drone that location and hit it. So they put out this graphic here of Minas Al Fujairah. It's an area, it's a port in the United Arab Emirates, who've really been on the receiving end of Iranian strikes since this began, like more than any other country in the region. So they put this out and said, hey, civilians, Emiratis, evacuate. We're going to hit this place. They said it's a secret U.S. location, but like this exact location we're going to hit, get out of there. So that would give a heads up to any air defense assets in the region, right? Like maybe
I saw a post of Don Jr. saying, Iran wants my dad dead now. And someone shared it and said, tell him to get in fucking line, okay?
What they're going to try to hit, not a surprise attack. Next day, they hit it. And it's on fire. Here's a little graphic showing the damage that was done to that exact location. Now, I don't know who's, I would assume that it's the Emiratis defending that. I don't think it'd be Americans. But either way, you see how challenging it is for everyone in the region right now to shoot down these drones. Iran called their shot, hit their target, and we still weren't able to fully protect that location. So Iranian drone and missile launches are down from the start of the war, but they're still happening every single day, and a fair number of them are getting through. In fact, just yesterday, Iran called their shot. Like they announced to the world.
Pretty big deal. We're going to attack this. Nothing you can do about it. And they did.
So the Pentagon says more than 200 Americans have now been wounded in action during the ongoing war with Iran. This is on top of the 13 that have been killed in action and up from last week when the Pentagon said 140 were so far wounded. Now, last week they said 8 of the 140 were seriously wounded. Now we have 10 out of the 200 that are in serious condition. So this is a combination of statements coming from Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell and then Captain Tim Hawkins, who's the chief spokesperson for U.S. Central Command. Captain Hawkins said that the troops have been wounded kind of across the theater in Bahrain, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, noting that the vast majority of these injuries occurred during the opening days of the conflict. In fact, in this report, and this is just published by the Washington Post, they said some of the injuries that are now being recorded actually occurred in the first few days, but the symptoms, primarily from things like TBI, traumatic brain injury, didn't become apparent until a few days on. But either way, the current tally right now as it is, 13 Americans killed in action, over 200 wounded in action during the ongoing war in Iran. So the Pentagon says more than 200 Americans have now been wounded in action during the ongoing war.
Over 200.
So President Trump has been asking our allies for help opening and keeping secure the Strait of Hormuz. The response so far mixed.
Oh no, this is only from 6 hours ago.
Not great. I mean, we've got British Prime Minister Keir Starmer saying that the
I feel you, man. I got carpal tunnel. I don't know if carpal tunnel is genetic, but my mom had to have surgery for it twice. But yeah, I've got carpal tunnel. When I love to work on shit, but like turning wrenches, ratchets, working out, a bunch of things, repetitive motion aggravates it really bad. And my shit fucking draws up and closes up, and it's bad.
UK would not be drawn into the wider war with Iran. The German defense minister said, quote, "This is not our war. We have not started it." In fact, Denmark, actually remember all the back and forth, we're going to take over Greenland and invade this territory. The foreign minister of Denmark, Rasmussen, actually said they need to keep an open mind. Denmark does. He said, we have a very small country, but we do have a large maritime nation, suggesting Denmark might actually be open to helping the U.S. out in this case. Italy said diplomacy was the only way to solve this crisis, saying no naval missions currently planned to assist in the Strait of Hormuz. Greece just outright said they would not engage in military operations in this area. Australia, also a hard no, saying they will not be sending naval ships to assist in the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And then South Korea, or let's see, Japan and South Korea. Japan, no plans to send any military vessels to help open the strait. And then South Korea seems kind of on the fence. They said they're going to talk to the United States and come to a decision down the road. But
yeah, carpal tunnel does have good shots. So my hands all drawn up like this, my money shots are on point. I can call my shot on Mariah's face, nail it every time. I think it's the extra grip strength. I don't think about it.
Not a lot from what I've seen at this point, kind of jumping on board, saying we're ready to enter this coalition, this new coalition together to force open the Strait of Hormuz. But it does seem like that's something that President Trump is still pushing for.
It's so accurate that I make Mariah say you sunk my battleship afterwards. It's a weird kink I got.
All right, so this is probably the coolest patch we've done so far. I know I'm biased, but like, come on. Angel of Justice, look at that. Sarah,
I think the rest of them are,
right now.
The rest of them are pinned videos.
So Iranian drone and missile launches are down from the start of the war. So Israel just kicked off ground operations against Hezbollah, with the Israeli defense minister saying they're going to turn southern Lebanon into a wasteland like Gaza. Now, Lebanon's sitting to the north of Israel. Hezbollah and Israel have been in a ceasefire since November of 2024, when Khamenei was killed a couple days after Hezbollah entered this fight, kind of on behalf of Iran, but also, look, long-standing grievances between Hezbollah and Israel, so they're kind of always looking for another reason to kick this off. But overnight, the IDF said that their troops have begun limited and targeted ground operations against key Hezbollah strongholds in southern Lebanon, aimed at enhancing the forward defense area. And that's the terminology being used here. I hate these word games so much, right? Like, what we're doing in Iran is a war. What Russia is doing in Ukraine.
Oh, one of the, hold on. Yeah, the Michigan synagogue attacker, I guess, had family in Lebanon. A man with a rifle who crashed into a large Michigan synagogue, and what federal officials are saying was an attack, had lost 4 family members in an Israeli airstrike in his native Lebanon last week.
A war. This is an invasion into Lebanon. It's a military moving into the sovereign territory of another nation. The terminology that Israel is using, even if it's co-opted by an awful organization like Hezbollah that I wish would go away, still moving a military force into another nation. Like, anyways, they're calling it the forward defensive posture is the term. The Jerusalem Post said Defense Minister Katz on Monday said the military would turn the villages there into a wasteland like Gaza. Quote, Katz said he and Prime Minister Netanyahu had ordered the IDF to destroy terror infrastructure in the nearby Lebanese border villages to prevent threats and the return of Hezbollah to the area, exactly as was done to Hamas in Gaza, in Rafah, Beit Hanun, and a variety of other areas. So Israel just kicked off ground operations against Hezbollah.
I mean, it's hard to relate to. I'm not saying what he did was right. I would never defend that, right? Obviously, I can't. There's no position to defend that. But imagine, like, you find out that, you know, a U.S. bomb killed your fucking family. You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously you're going to be angry. I swear, people are just a couple of bad, I say this all the time, but a couple of bad decisions, a couple of bad outcomes, a couple of bad circumstances from being a fucking killer. I know there are things that people could do to me that would cause me to snap and go on a spree. You know what I mean? Like, I know for a fact, I could probably list some of them and be like, oh yeah, that happens. I'm probably going to kill everybody in the vicinity, just so you know.
So for the first time in a long time, we've got Russians openly worrying about the possibility of a Ukrainian breakthrough at the front. One of their mill bloggers, German Sadolyev, the other day put out his post saying, quote, the situation on the front is very dire. The enemy has regained superiority in the lower sky. There are more enemy drones and their quality has changed again. Our electronic warfare system is not working. And even drones.
I think we watched this one as well.
The Ukrainians are now isolating the front line in the entire combat area. There is no logistics, delivering supplies, evacuating.
Oh, my favorite AI guy, the guy that I went to look for the Netanyahu video, that's this guy. Jeremy Carrasco. He's my AI guy. Now, he hasn't done the Netanyahu video, and it might be because he's staying away from war-related videos, as you'll see in this video. He tells people, like, use the tools I've taught you, but don't just go looking for war videos, because it's just going to feed into more violence and more war videos, and it should get fed more and more. But here's my AI guy.
What's real with the war in Iran? Like, news sites.
When I tell you guys I call the experts, this is the expert.
Are debunking AI videos. Why haven't I been doing that? If I demonstrate how AI missiles move too slowly, or how real people react suddenly to explosions, but AI lags behind, I'm encouraging hundreds of thousands of my followers to watch more war footage as if that's your job. It's technically possible, but this isn't normal stuff. Like, coordinated AI video campaigns are competing with each other while governments are clamping down on real videos they consider disinformation. Like, this is brutal. The ideal social media is supposed to connect us with good information, but right now it's an engagement machine. And let's just be honest, if you're spending your time navigating between real or AI war videos, your feed just gets more violent. Is that really what we want? So far,
right, you don't want to turn your feed into that's all you're fucking seeing because you've been searching through these videos.
It has not been a serious place for...
He might cover the Netanyahu video, he just hasn't yet.
Good information about the war. I'm going to keep making AI spotting videos, and those might help you, but just remember that the social media war algorithms are a bad place and they're not worth your attention. You can find this information in other healthier places. How can you figure out...
But I am very glad that I looked up his account to see if he had that Netanyahu video covered yet, because you guys remember the belt buckle scam? This guy... The AI guy that's selling belt buckles, claiming he's a black veteran that no one loves, no one likes, and He's got all these hate comments. You're black. Nobody wants your fucking military buckles. Black guy, go back to Blackistan or whatever the fuck like these horrible fucking comments that are made up. He's already covered one of those. I did not know this. I'm just finding out. But he covered this lobster purse bitch. Check out these purses.
This lobster lady account blocked me, so I couldn't tell you that they're AI. But that didn't stop me. This sob story format is really popular with AI scams right now. Even as a black woman, I have more faith that white women will save. This is not run by a black woman. Just like that's not a real Republican. That hat. Why is she making the bags at the market? And the tent structure is extremely messed up if you look closely. This links to lobsterbags.com, a website that was registered 4 days ago, so we don't know where it came from. The website looks a lot like the dragon bag.
Look at those lobster bags or the dragon bags.
That I
Same AI scam.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is run by the same company, and that's why they preemptively blocked me. These aren't real products. The handle is sticking straight up, defying physics. In this one, the number 14 is repeated twice, and here, that ruler doesn't make sense. It goes from 8 to 0 to 11, and these are just made with Nano Banana. They have Synth ID watermarks, which you can ask Google Gemini for to prove that these aren't real. Even though they're joking about it, you could literally get a lobster bag that looks like this if you order from them.
Or maybe nothing. Maybe they just steal your fucking credit card information. Who knows?
There's no sign that anything is real here. This lobster lady account blocked me, so I couldn't.
It's Bree.Monroe59 on TikTok. It's the lobster lady account. Let's go see what her lobster. Oh, looks like they've taken down some of them. Lobsterbags.com. Let's look at the website. That's what you're supposed to be getting, which is a purse that could be made, I guess, technically. But that's what you're supposed to be getting. There's a black one. There's an orange one. I saw this on TikTok and bought it immediately. No regrets. The weird one is so cute in person, and the little legs kill me every time I carry it. My coworker asked where I got it 3 times in one day. Okay, I was skeptical buying a lobster-shaped bag, but it actually goes with everything. The leather feels so nice. The gold details make it look way more expensive than it is. Already ordered the black one, too. Got this for my sister's birthday, and she won't stop talking about it. She literally wore it to brunch the next day. The detail on this bag is crazy for the price. Bree, you're on to something. If your bag shows up damaged, not what you expected, you send a photo. 30 days, we'll make it right. Refund, replacement, whatever you need. Simple as that. So not a lot going on her website. Free shipping worldwide. They're $90. $90. All right, let's go to our account. Can the childish girlie stay 10 seconds to show my wife her lobster bags aren't ugly? I'm probably going to mute everything, but hold on. Random guy just runs up and throws the bag down. And they just both look at it, shocked. Everybody reacts way too slowly. Oh my God, the legs moved. Wait a second. It's like the bag's alive, or AI thinks it's alive. Look at this. Did you see the legs kick? They kick up. That's the lobster bag. Oh, he's crying. They're playing Creep in the backgrounds. But I'm a creep. At least somebody in the comments is telling this person they're AI. Looks like a bunch of comments have been deleted. It says there's 362 comments, but I can only see 4 of them. Maybe bots or something. There's somebody else throwing her bag on the ground. Apparently there's a bunch of these. There's a dragon bag, dragon purse, AI video. Oh my God, that's a beautiful woman. Is playing some Celtic music. They are very similar. Oh, they even took their order here link down. Handcrafted dragon bags for fantasy souls. Carry magic, carry fire, free worldwide shipping, order here, but their link is now gone. As a dwarf, that's what I didn't say. When I said, oh my God, that's what I meant. I fully trust the book girls will stay 15 seconds to tell me my dragon bags are not ugly. Genuinely feel sick seeing this little midget thing pretend she's a real business owner. You must be this tall to business own. That comment doesn't even make sense. I feel sick seeing a midget being a business owner. So these are all fake, 100%. And that's a full-size human hand, by the way. You can tell. Same comment again. Even as a dwarf, nobody takes me seriously, but I have more faith than fantasy girlies will stay for 12 seconds. What do you mean, even as a dwarf? So you understand, like, AI doesn't make sense sometimes, even as a dwarf. So you're telling me usually dwarfs are taken more seriously, but even though you're a dwarf, that's not going to happen for you. Same video, same bullshit. Same video again. Okay, just a bunch of reposts here now. Even as a dwarf, I have more faith that the fantasy girlies will stay 14 seconds to save. Even as a dwarf, that's such a weird. Obviously, you got to squeeze that dwarf thing in there, but strange. Where was the AI? AI Dragon Bag accounts. Oh, there is a news source that popped up on my Facebook today. I wonder if I can find that. It was basically like backlash after local college does photo shoot with women's swim team, but one team member predominantly featured her backside, and it's got a girl, a college age girl with a big ass, and she's in a college or a one-piece swimsuit. No logo or nothing, just a one-piece swimsuit. Now, I'm in Tennessee, so it was shown to me her swimsuit was gray and orange, and they had Tennessee in there. And it's like, click the link below to read the rest of the story. And it was from an account called like Tennessee Vols for Life. But then in the comments, people had a screenshot of the exact same story, the exact same link, the exact same girl. All they were doing was changing the color of her swimsuit. And there was Ohio and Michigan and Florida State and every school. They were doing the exact same thing from accounts that were called like Georgia Bulldogs for Life or, Florida Gators Nation. It's so weird just to get you to click on that link where I guess they, I don't know, steal your information or show you a bunch of ads. I don't know. I guess somebody's just calling this out. Oh my God, what was that? That's Frodo. Oh, wait, there's different people, different dwarfs. So that's number one. 2, she's kind of Asian looking. 3, a ginger. I'm not a half-naked girl. You can keep scrolling. 4, she looks like, Frodo. They're trying really hard. 5, oh, okay, little Filipino. A little retired softball player, maybe? Got a blonde with an arrow. A little New Jersey. Kind of broke the mold with this one, didn't they? A little, I still listen to my parents' Green Day. Clearly. A little Canadian? I don't know. My life is one big weird goon session. She's full-sized. British, probably. Oh, what? Who's this guy? He's Irish or Scottish or something. I don't talk to enough people. I can't tell the difference between Irish and Scottish. Sorry. Sometimes I think about that when I go. I'm not saying it's impossible. I know there are people that can be like, oh, it's not Irish, that's Scottish. I can't. I can't. Damn, that's a lot of fake accounts, huh? Just to sell dragon bags. Dragon, he's nuts. What's crazy is during both presidencies, it was Donald Trump that fucked the gas prices with the OPEC deal and then, attacking Iran. Well, you won't see, it's not one account, right? You'll probably only get suggested one of them or maybe two of them, and it'll be so far apart you won't remember it was a different person. But they make 10 accounts, so they hit more people. But when they target with their ad spend, they only hit you once. You'll only find like the midget I found or whatever. By the time schools had a curriculum about, finding AI videos, AI would be so far advanced that there won't be any. You know what I mean? It'll be back. The school would already be so far behind. They're going to be indistinguishable unless we take some type of action, and require, under penalty of law, watermarks or something. They're going to be indistinguishable soon.
How during Biden's presidency, if you talked about gas prices, they would be like, the president has nothing to do with the gas prices. And like 1 week in Trump's presidency, gas is like really super high. And they're like, do you regret your vote?
It's not funny. It's logical. Let me give you an example that might help you. Let's say that we live in a neighborhood where we have power outages very often. And every time there's a power outage, you knock at my door and you complain to me about that power outage. Well, it would make sense for me to tell you, well, I got nothing to do with it. What are you complaining to me for? But let's say that one day I'm driving erratically around the neighborhood and hit an electric pole with my car and cause a blackout throughout the neighborhood. At that point, you'd have every right to come knocking at my door and ask me why the hell I did it. Because you see, that time I actually did cause the power outage. You see, the president of the United States decided to start the conflict with Iran, which then caused Iran to retaliate by closing the Strait of Hormuz. This is what's known as a chain of causation. So yes, while it's true that in 95% of the cases, the price of gas is connected to large economic rules that the president of the United States has a very hard time controlling in any way. When the president of the United States takes action that cause 30% of the world's oil production to stop.
It is not a coincidence that the beginning date and the end date of the OPEC deal that Trump did the first time in his office tracks perfectly with inflation.
Then yes, we can tell the president that he's at fault for that. And the fact that I had to spend 90 seconds of my time explaining this
honestly, if we're going to start teaching people how to recognize AI videos, it needs to be all the fucking MAGA boomers on Instagram and Facebook. They followed a full they're over here trying to hook up with a full fucking army, that Jenna Foster or whatever her name was.
very simple concept.
Or they keep sending me pictures of Jesus, like fucking guarding people and helping people through storms and all kinds of crazy shit.
To you is confounding. Unsurprising, but confounding.
The Justice Guy. I don't know what this is. This is a surprise round. Something about Erica Kirk.
The long-awaited assessment of Erica Kirk from an intelligence perspective. Let's go. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. You can find all of my deep dive investigations, sources, videos on my Substack, as well as a Follow the Money investigative toolkit that I created so that you all can follow the money as well. It is the step-by-step process guide, sources, everything that I use. That is in my bio. I appreciate you all so much. We are still top rising in US politics, so let's go. There are two types of liars in intel. You have your normal liars, your Joe Schmoes. They're gonna lie to benefit themselves, cover up. Those lies are gonna look random. They're gonna be whenever there's an opportunity and they need to lie. Then you have assets, and assets have lives built for them, and they're lying. It's gonna come across as more of a pattern. I want to keep this in mind as we go through the behavior of Erica Kirk and some of the red flags I've seen and align it to a behavior pattern of an asset or an intel op. 3 instances have stuck out to me to make me truly question what was going on. In 2013, when Erica Kirk was 24 years old, she was in a documentary with the director of the CIA talking about electromagnetic pulses, EMPs, which her mom, who owns a defense contracting firm, that's what they do. And she was talking about taking down the American power grid. That's not fucking normal, all right? Not only is it not normal for a 24-year-old who didn't study this stuff to be the face of talking about EMPs, but it is also not normal to have that kind of access to the
Well, she might be, right? They might have hired talent.
director of the CIA.
You know what I mean?
You have to be incredibly well.
They might have hired talent, and she might just have connections somewhere. But at the time, she was an actress and a model. They might have been making that video for consumption, and she might have just been an actress.
Well connected and know your shit. And yet she never talks about it.
It is a coincidence, but
a really odd piece of behavior is the fact that in May of 2018, she tells a story about going on a pilgrimage to the blue and white country with her mother, and happened to be the same time that the Jerusalem embassy was opening. And so Charlie Kirk was going as well, and she saw him in the airport and recognized him. He wasn't well known at this time. Knowing about Charlie Kirk's faith and divine intervention and all of those things, I'm going to call bullshit on this. And what it looks like is that this was a planned encounter. And what happens is you bump into your target, or you create a relationship without creating a relationship, so that when you do meet, it is not so random. That's what this looks like. Another thing that struck me as very strange about her is that she has no real friends. She has no.
They're claiming it was a CIA video. I don't think that's true. I think it was like a video that was probably distributed to people that had a need to learn about this stuff. Whether you work in a power plant, like a more crucial power plant or something like that. It's like a weird documentary. An independent documentary released in 2017 that examines the vulnerability of U.S. electrical grid to various threats. Yeah, so it wasn't a CIA video. But yeah. Have you guys seen the video? Do you want to see it? You might have seen it already. I'll show it anyways. I don't know. So you know what I'm talking about. Here's the claim about it and the video. It says, holy shit, it keeps getting worse. A buried CIA video just resurfaced and Erica Kirk is in it. Again, it was a documentary, independent documentary. A 10-year-old documentary about EMP attacks. See, even they contradicted themselves. A CIA video, a documentary. CIA doesn't make documentaries. About EMP attacks and U.S. power grid vulnerability has quietly surfaced and buried inside of his Erica Kirk. She's not observing. She's not a host. She's in a role most civilians never get near, briefing national security professionals alongside a former CIA national security energy specialist. So that's just another guy they got for the documentary. She's an actress. That's it. Or coordinated physical attack could collapse the U.S. power grid. This isn't casual footage. It's technical. It's inside baseball, and it's the exact kind of material most people never get near, let alone present, which raises some very uncomfortable questions. Why is she in that role? What qualified her to brief on national security threats? Who brought her into that room, and why is none of it explained? Back then, this clip passed quietly. Today, with everything surrounding her, it's very different. It is a coincidence, but maybe she had friends. From a 2015 public documentary, Black Star on Grid Threats, not CIA produced, available on YouTube since upload. It features Erica Franzi, or however you say her name, presenting alongside a former director, James Woolsey. Her family's business includes EMP protection tech. Oh, okay. So maybe it's something to do with her family's business. But here's the video.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made.
Imagine you're at work one day and they make you do, I want to relate this to the military because we do sharp training so much, but imagine you're at work one day and say someone got fired for sexual harassment. So they do a mandatory training where you have to watch one of those stupid training videos, and you happen to notice the fucking lawyer that's harassing his secretary in the video. You wouldn't be like, oh my God, this CIA produced mass this. That guy must be an intelligence agent because I've seen him, he works at the Dunkin' Donuts down the road, blah, 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 whatever. Like, you just be like, oh, that's weird. He must have got hired for like an acting role, and he appears in this sexual harassment video. You know what I mean?
EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take.
And it seems like her family has something to do with a business that has something to do with EMP protection.
Action. Take action.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures in the United States.
I don't know. So I call it acting, but where it's like documentary style, is that really acting? She's pretending to be well-dressed, smart person who interviews, you know what I mean?
Food, water, transportation, communications, etc. All 17 of the others depend on electricity.
I think the asset vibe that a lot of people are going with is that she's Israeli asset, honeypot to rein Charlie Kirk in kind of deal. Narrator, yeah, kind of.
Goes down. You can't cook. You're not going to heat anything.
I hate that bitch right there.
Medical supplies. You can't talk on your phone. You can't take money out of a bank. And we turn into total chaos.
If this happens, the system stops.
If a transformer is taken down, we have to order it from Germany or China. It's going to take a year.
Up till recently, there were no comprehensive protective solutions available.
I can't believe they've got the people's titles and like this low production, kind of vibe. I can't believe people are trying to pass this off as a CIA. You know what I mean?
Know what the solutions are. They're not expensive. They're not difficult to employ. We just need the political will to do it and the follow through on the part of the electric utilities to get it done.
This is all true, by the way. Infrastructure is my big thing. We should be investing in roads and bridges and crumbling society. Our power grid should be hardened and secured. I don't give a fuck what it costs. That's something that the left and right should be able to come together and not pass on to ratepayers, and instead have a federal fucking project with a hella fucking oversight. Not like when they were going to bring broadband to everybody and it cost billions of dollars and it's still not rolled out. Like, we need to have competent people who are willing to stick to a timeline and a budget going out and hardening these projects. Bridges and roadways and fucking monuments. I don't give a fuck. Anything that the federal government's in charge of, or state and local government, that's concrete or asphalt or whatever, plus the power grid. It should be hardened against attacks.
The White House is protected from an EMP. The Congress and the CIA and the NSA, all of the areas that need to function in the government are protected. So why can't we be protected?
Around some of these facilities, you don't have much more than a chain link fence to keep people out. Now that seems absurd to me.
I think it is absurd when we now know that attack on as few as 9 grid substations could bring down all 3 major interconnections for the United States grid.
If the power goes out, you get the generator, and if that goes out, you get another one. There's never been a plan for what happens after that.
The director of the National Security Agency, Admiral Rogers, came out and said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
I think the scariest part is like a lot of these small municipalities that, imagine being an IT guy for the entire city for a town of like, 5,000, 10,000 people. Less than 100,000 people, let's say. And you're supposed to compete on your own with no backup, no outside, no federal government, no nothing. You're supposed to compete with China's best fucking military hackers who are trying to take over your local water distribution plants. I don't think the answer is to federalize everything, right? Take it over. But goddamn, like China is clearly hacking these things. We've known they do releases, they're doing shutdowns, they're just tweaking with shit to see what they can do, what they can't do when they're noticed. They don't care if they burn a city of 7,500 people or whatever, because they're in power plants, they're in water plants, they're in our utilities. 100%. We know this already, and we're not doing anything about it. Anyways, that's the video they're talking about, where like, how do you get to be with the CIA and how you do this?
And so Charlie
It's a former CIA guy that'll probably do anything for a few $100.
Kirk was going as well, and she saw him in the airport and recognized him. He wasn't well known at this time. Knowing about Charlie Kirk's your shit, and yet she never talks about it. Second, and she was talking about taking down the American power grid. That's not fucking normal, all right? Not only is it not normal for a 24-year-old who didn't study this stuff, in mind as we go through the behavior.
Yeah, because she couldn't possibly read a script, right? It involved her parents' business. She was an actor and model at the time. She couldn't possibly read a script and do some costume changes.
Erica Kirk and some of the red flags I've seen, and align it to a behavior pattern of an asset or an intel op. 3 instances have stuck out to me to make me truly question what was going on. In 2013, when Erica Kirk was 24 years old, she was in a documentary with the director of the CIA talking about electromagnetic pulses, EMPs, which her mom, who owns a defense contracting firm, that's what they do. And she was talking about taking down the American power grid. That's not fucking normal, all right? Not only is it not normal for a 24-year-old who didn't study this stuff to be the face of talking about EMPs, but it is also not normal to have that kind of access to the director of the CIA.
Well, all that's about reducing labor costs, real-time monitoring, remote control of infrastructure, enhancing efficiency. That's why they're connected to the internet. And a lot of the parts we buy and stuff that we have to have come from Chinese manufacturers. It's already laced with fucking all kinds of shit.
You have to be incredibly well connected and know your shit. And yet she never talks about it. Second really odd piece of behavior is the fact that in May of 2018, she tells a story about going on a pilgrimage to the blue and white country with her mother, and happened to be the same time that the Jerusalem embassy was opening. And so Charlie Kirk was going as well, and she saw him in the airport and recognized him. He wasn't well known at this time. Knowing about Charlie Kirk's faith and divine intervention and all of those things, I'm going to call bullshit on this. And what it looks like is that this was a planned encounter. And what happens is you bump into your target, or you create a relationship without creating a relationship, so that when you do meet, it is not so random. That's what this looks like. Another thing that struck me as very strange about her is that she has no real friends. She has no real connections, and everything is a lie. This pattern of behavior is just screaming asset. The third huge red flag for me, and this was probably the one that got me started thinking all of this, is
I think she probably worked in this capacity. I don't think she's probably lying about it, but she's also playing to an audience here. She's an actress as much as anybody else is, right? And she knows what the audience wants to hear, and she's giving them that information.
Years old, and she flew out
jump scare
to interview in
did I get you?
A nonprofit. She's like, I'm gonna go interview at a nonprofit. I have 2 degrees, according to her. I think people are proving that not to be true. Surprise, surprise. JD, I'm gonna go interview at a nonprofit. And then she flies back to New York City and gets a real estate license. The thing is, what she does and what she says don't add up, which means she's living a lie. That's what that pattern of behavior tells me. She's living a lie. In addition, it's already come out that Tyler Boyer said she called him for the interview, and she was dating Cabot Phillips. So she has integrated herself for 2 connections related to Charlie Kirk. So it's not by chance. I think that those 2 people told her a lot about Charlie Kirk, and she learned about a target. Let's just say that happened. So her target's Charlie. She learns everything about him, who she needs to be to attract that kind of man. It is not hard to do, all right?
Well, I mean, she lies. She said that we were never partiers, we were never this, and then she's on this fucking reality show dating and talking about partying and how they met in a bar and they were so drunk and blah, blah, blah. Like, she's a chameleon. At minimum, even if she's not an asset, even if she's not a honeypot, even if she's not working for the Israeli government, Shabbat Shalom, please don't drone strike me. Even if none of that's true, she's a chameleon. That's how she survives. That's how she got where she's at. That's how she latches onto people. That's how she's a multimillionaire now. She's a chameleon. She'll be whatever she needs to be in the situation.
And she plays that role. But she's not the mastermind. If you look at the episode...
Remind me to check my pager batteries before I leave the office.
...of what I've looked at between Superfeed Technologies, the Blue and White Country Connection, Tyler Boyer, Erica Kirk, you know who sits in the middle of all that? Her mom. So, just my opinion again, and stay tuned. The long-awaited assessment of Erica...
Here, somebody asked, like, why are we connecting the infrastructure? Here's the explanation from this paper that I was just reading in the background. It says, driven by the need for operational efficiency, regulatory compliance, ever stricter, and the importance of improvement of services, the WWS sector, water, wastewater services, is currently in the midst of a profound transformation in recent decades. Water utilities have integrated a range of technologies into their operations. Adopting information technology, by the way, no one's telling them this, like, hey, you know, there's a fine line between getting more efficient and being able to pass these tests and reducing manpower and making it easier, and going too far and, hey, you're connected to the internet and now people can get into it, but whatever. They've been adopting information technology such as data management and customer billing systems, as well as operational technology like ICS to monitor and control pumps, valves, and chemical dosers. As a result, these water utilities are turning operations that were traditionally manned by human workers into a complex, interconnected cyber-physical system that fundamentally introduces a whole new world of threats. But we've barely begun to scratch the surface on just how dangerous these threats could truly be. The ironclad defense of air gap has been dismantled by the convergence of IT and OT without that barrier. Threats are spilling over from IT environments into highly sensitive OT domain. As more OT systems integrate with IT, the water utilities continue to move away from the isolated and safe OT environment. Thus, many water utilities operate within a digital environment without proper management, creating a pathway for attackers to access OT assets after they successfully compromise the organization's IT. According to a 2022 report, 83% of water organizations had undocumented or uncontrolled external connections into their OT environments. 83% had some type of uncontrolled or undocumented external connections, showcasing the pervasive and detrimental nature of this convergence. Moreover, some water utilities even have internet-facing OT components. Operational technology, like internet-facing, like you can just access it from an internet IP address, allowing the attackers to find and directly exploit OT with ease. However, this is the bad part. Water utilities are still anchored in the traditional civil engineering approach, which prioritizes aspects like workforce training and budget priorities. A 21 survey, this was just 5 years ago, shows that nearly 40% of the water wastewater services respondents do not address security in overall risk assessment at all. And only 20% have implemented some form of cybersecurity protection. 3 years later, in 2024, a State of the Water Industry, SOTW report, only half of the utilities surveyed are currently investing in cybersecurity measures to protect their critical infrastructure. It's bad. I forget the town, but just as a test run in some small town, China just pumped their shit, just dumped all their chlorine into the water supply. Just boom, hit a button, pumped it all out overnight, and like had millions and millions of times the acceptable level of chlorine in the water, just as a test. They were kicked out. They burnt that. They're probably already back in by now. But they were willing to lose that to just be like, can we do this? It's pretty bad. Power plants are a lot better than this. But water is just as fucking needed. You know what I mean? It's bad. I used to work in water and wastewater, for those who don't know. Our shit was very, very, only because we didn't have the budget. Our shit was very, very, very offline. Like I still had paper flow charts that I had to change every night at midnight. It's like a big circle. Hold on, I'll show you. It's like, it looks like a seismograph. It was intake and outfall on this big thing that looked like a big clock, right? And we had this special made paper with like a peg in it, like a drive wheel in it. and you had to line it up. And at midnight, you pulled the needle and set it on there, and it had like a needle you placed back down, and it did all that. And I had to take those off the wall by hand at midnight, put them together, and file them away. It was a crazy charting system. But that's just because we couldn't afford it. The brand new wastewater treatment plant they just made, it was all fucking digital and online and had remote monitoring. They were running around with fucking tablets, so they knew what everything was. I had to go around to each fucking monitor. I had to go fucking to each section and monitor it and take samples, pull manual samples. They've got samplers and all kinds of shit. Like, it was crazy. But ours was just like the bastard child, because it was like the oldest one was going to be shut down, I'm sure, soon. Just crazy shit. It was Knob Creek was the one I worked at, but I was trying to find that charting machine, but I can't even find it. I don't know. Every time I put flow chart, talking about water flow, it brings up a flow chart, like making a flow chart with arrows and shit. Here we go. Circular data recorder. That's how I got it. Honeywell makes it. See this? Like, literally, that's a needle connected to the readers that sample how much. And we had two of these side by side. One of them was incoming, one of them was outgoing. And each one is an hour. And this needle goes up and down, kind of like a seismograph or whatever. And it tells like how many hundreds of thousands or millions of gallons are coming in and going out. So one was intake, one was outfall, and it monitored. And at midnight, you have to go over there, and you can't pause the machine. You just lift up the needle and you throw another one on, and you don't want your lapse to be more than like a couple minutes to do both of them. That way you don't lose the data. But this is something that should be monitored by a computer, right? It's stupid that we're using all this paper, changing them every night at midnight, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just stupid. That's definitely something that should be done by a computer, but we're going too far without training people. Here's one that's got two needles. Without training people on how to protect these assets. Like, they ought to have a defensive fucking anti-hacker, anti-something guy that just, even if he has, depending on how big the place is, he may have a team of people, but his whole job is to make sure they're not being hacked, to make sure people aren't putting in malware and shit like that at all these fucking things for every fucking city. And they should coordinate federally to say, hey, these are the current attacks they're using. This is how they're doing it. There ought to be training like, you can't bring in a Fire Stick or your personal computer, or you can't plug anything into these computers. They shouldn't even have accessible USB ports, kind of deal. The same way you would do it like a nuclear facility. But because it's just like, oh, that's just water, or that's just wastewater, people are like, whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's fucked is what it is. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Listen to me, bitch. If you guys want to support the show, there's a bunch of links where you can do it. I put them all together at this website, or you can use the built-in stuff. I'd greatly appreciate it. That's how I pay the bills. Trip coming up, right? Send me some money for the trip. I'm fucking broke. But the trip's coming up. That'll be at, we're going to Nashville Thursday night. We'll probably be streaming the drive, hanging out with me and Mariah if you want to talk to us or hang out. And then we'll be hanging out in Nashville definitely Thursday night, probably Friday night as well. Saturday night we'll be driving back home, and it'll probably be too late to stream. But Thursday night, Friday night we'll be in Nashville streaming, running around. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I did get my dad's van registered in my name today so I could get plates for it so people can test drive it, and got insurance on it because it's just been sitting for 2 years. But hopefully I'm going to have that listed and sold when I get back. That's basically the updates. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Stay warm. Next 2 days are going to be cold, and it's going to be back to fucking summer again. I don't know how that works. Somebody probably prayed for it, got their prayers answered. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one tomorrow. Talk to you later. Love you. See you. Bye. This one's for you, Bort.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show,
the chart was really cool. I thought it was almost like it's so old, the water inflow, outflow charting system. It's almost like it's retro, like steampunk. You know what I mean? Like to have these paper charts of how many million gallons flowed through the plant every hour on the hour. I thought it was cool. But my job on night shift was to change them at midnight.
Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think
we worked that weird swing shift where you work 3 days off 4, work 4 days off 3, and you go from nights to days. But the boss, right, the manager of that plant was such a fucking tool bag I couldn't stand. I just volunteered to take everybody's night shift. I was like, I'll be a permanent night guy, and you guys won't have to switch shifts as much. Only on my off days, but I didn't have to hang out with Albert. That's the guy that had such a bad speech impediment. In the interview, he asked me a question, and after it was over, and they're like, you did pretty good, blah, blah, blah. I was like, your accent's so interesting. Where are you from? He's like, White Hill. I've lived here my whole life. And I was like, oh. Okay. Okay. I thought he was fucking German or some shit, dude. He only asked me one question the whole interview, and it was kind of short, but I was like, damn. Flew this guy in from fucking Hamburg or some shit. Who is this guy? Lived here my whole life. Why do you ask? Oh, God. Oh, I thought I heard an accent.
Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, this is gonna be it.
As far as I know, Helene took out a bunch of wastewater treatment plants. And I don't know what they're doing for temporary treatment. But, like, he just ripped all the pops up and shit. So you can't even route it to, like, the sewer because there is no sewer in a lot of places anymore. But, you know what? One of these takes, like, fucking 7, 10, 15 years to build. So I don't know. I need to check into that. What the fuck are they doing for wastewater treatment? Because I'm downstream. Is it still in the fucking river? Because when it ripped everything out, it just went in the river. Is that still what they're doing?
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up because you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know him.
Are you guys on septic tank or sewer? Most of y'all.
On my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night.
Where I'm at, sewer access, there's not a lot of sewer access. You have to live in city limits, basically. But everybody else is on septic.
Believing in reason for no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird, motherfucker.
Maybe, if I had to guess, I would say maybe 1/10 of the households in the county are on sewer. Everybody else is on septic tanks.
I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
It all goes to the wastewater treatment plant. When you just get your tank pumped, right, and then they still take it to the wastewater treatment plant. That's where the trucks dump at anyways.
Give out your store handle, because that's really pathetic.
Good night.